and welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be carrying on with the social timeline now, bringing us forward to the sort of my late teenage years, and so in my previous video I described my experiences with friendship and the difficulties I had in maintaining them. After the third failed attempt, I increasingly isolated myself, as shown in the school record book that I read a little bit out. I read to you from last week. I often sat alone in lessons. However, I sometimes sat next to a nice, well-behaved girl who I could chat with during lessons. Sometimes nice girls let me join their group, but they were not friends in the true sense, as I never saw them after school, and they were more like acquaintances who tolerated my company. I think I began to mask slightly because I tried to fit in by talking in a considered way and presenting myself as a quiet, well-behaved girl. However, sometimes I gave up trying not to look strange, and there were occasions of inappropriate behaviour. This was an attempt to get a reaction, to be noticed, to bring some excitement to my life, or to make me laugh. I was mainly inappropriate in front of a handful of kids, and only occasionally in front of a few teachers. I was naughty a few times in French class, because I talked while I was supposed to be working, and a teacher told me off for writing obscene words about sex on a bit of paper. Yeah, it is quite cringe-worthy talking about this now, as an adult. I mean, I'm quite different to how I was as a teenager. And yeah, it is definitely cringe-worthy telling you these things. But I don't want to not talk about them. I want to, I don't really like covering things up or not talking about them just because they're embarrassing. Because I just think it's important to talk about this, because other people might have experienced similar things potentially, and I don't think there's any help. I don't think it's helpful to not talk about things and weird stuff one you might have done. So I might possibly be oversharing maybe, but I think that it's better to overshare than to undershare. So I want to tell you about what happened, and yes, and I did do these things to try and get a reaction. I mean, what else are you supposed to do when you don't have any friends and, you're socially isolated? You can go down one of two paths. You can either 100% completely and utterly just passively give up, I suppose, and that's what some people do. You can get, so that's one way of dealing with it. And I did do that at times as well. I did withdraw and isolate myself, as it said in my school record book, because teachers became aware, that I was isolating myself in lessons, that I wasn't really communicating. So I did do that, but also I tried to get a reaction as well. And now I think a lot of that comes out of boredom. If you're not getting real social contact, but you want people to notice you, it can be very alienating being completely isolated. You want to say, look, hey, look at me, I do exist, but you don't know how to kind of make friends in your proper way. There's only a few options left to you. So that's part of the reason why I was quite inappropriate at times. I'm talking about sex, which, is a really taboo subject. Most teenagers find that sort of thing funny and yeah, obviously it made me stand out even more as a weirdo, but, I knew that was a way of getting reaction, because that's what, teenagers tend to react to. So yeah, but the teacher told me off because she found out I'd written, all this rather obscene stuff about sex. I mean, it wasn't that obscene, I can't actually remember what it was, but I wrote, basically, yeah, rather obscene stuff on a bit of paper. The teacher again got hold of and told me off for. I also joked that hair on a brush was pubic hair to some girls who laughed, making me laugh as though I'd created my own comedy sketch. This, as I say, this certainly did not help me make friends, although I'd given up on this by now and was reconciled to being a loner. On another occasion, one lunchtime, I gave a mock sex education class to a group of boys. I thought, let's talk about the most taboo subject ever, sex, and that would get me noticed to get kids talking about me. The worst thing I did, though, Oh yeah, before I move on to that, yes, like a sex education class thingy. Basically, there were these group of boys, they were like mainly the year below me, and they knew I was quite weird, and they used to kind of like take the mick out of me. They were in my brother's year, and I kind of like, I don't know, I sort of like fed that a bit by basically like upweirding myself. So like upweirding, that's the kind of thing what I mean by upweirding is, so basically I was already weird. So like you're already weird, so there's nothing to lose by being even weirder. People already know you're weird, so what are you gonna do? People already know you're weird, so I just basically upweirded myself. I basically became even more weird, trying to get a reaction. So I basically went to this empty porter cabin classroom at lunchtime, and I basically basically talked to these boys about sex. Which is funny because, you know, well, that's the most taboo subject ever. And I would on the whiteboard I drew pictures, and I talk about it and stuff, and I basically create my own comedy sketch, and I was finding it really, really funny. Basically I was really immature, and I was just like laughing and finding it really funny, and these boys were obviously taking mickey out of me. They were laughing, but you know, I was getting a reaction. So yeah, so that's what I did. So that was what that was all about. And yeah, I did get a bit of a reputation, so I went around the school basically I was a weirdo. Everyone knew I was weird. The worst thing I did though was to tell kids that I'd had sex with my dog. It just came out. I just said, oh, by the way, I've had sex with my dog. I just randomly told kids that, all in order to get a reaction, and I was so desperate for some form of social feedback. So the story went round school, and my dad then received a phone call at work to ask if I was under protection from social services. So then I got really into trouble from my parents because, like, obviously someone had phoned them up because maybe someone had obviously taken what I said as being actually factually correct sort of thing, whereas I was just doing it to get a reaction and because I thought it was taboo, and therefore people would laugh, and at least I'd be getting some form of social contact, some form of stimulation because I was bored, didn't have any friends. What else was I supposed to do? But yeah, I didn't really think about the consequences, and obviously I didn't really know that this sort of thing, telling people this sort of thing, would get me into a lot of trouble. I was just joking. It was just my idea of a funny joke, but obviously people then took it deadly serious, which is quite ironic. Went around to school, so yeah, I got really told off about that I shouldn't be saying these things, you know, that people were taking it the wrong way, and you know. So yeah, I just thought it was only a joke, my sense of humour, but it didn't go down well, as I said. I was not expecting there would be consequences, you know, I just thought it was a funny joke, you know, just to say that randomly to people. But I got really told off about it at home. So just being quiet all the time was boring and unstimulating, you know, I did go down that approach. But it didn't really get me anywhere. And so yeah, it was almost like in a way I had two personalities. Different teachers saw different versions of me depending on whether or not I liked the lesson or the extent to which I feared their authority. So like some teachers would see me as like really quiet, you know, well, sort of almost like too well behaved, but kind of like not contributing to lessons, just isolating myself. As it said in that record book I read out last week, that teachers had to sign to kind of show us to try and help me make progress in those areas, but that didn't really help me at all. And then at other times, obviously, in other lessons I could be rather naughty and mischievous, so it all depended really on the teacher. At home my mum told me that I would soon become very unhappy if I did not make friends, but I shrugged this off because, as far as I was concerned, my life was good, you know. I was infatuated with the actress Kate Winslet, who fulfilled all my needs, and all my attempts at making friends have been in vain. So, you know, I just given up, and in the end I just stopped caring. And indeed, I wasn't depressed or anything, you know. Despite the fact I had extreme anxiety, to me that was just normal, and I didn't really question it that deeply. And I just given up about friends at that point, so I just stopped caring, and yeah, so I didn't really understand when my mum said that. But my anxiety and OCD did become really bad at this age, mainly concerning a fear of catching germs, and this further fed into my increasing social isolation. So I would often breath hold in class when someone coughed, and that resulted in headaches and lethargy. But, you know, I told no one. I mean, my parents knew I had fears and phobias, but what they knew only scratched the surface of a significant fear, because I was very secretive about this. I didn't really want the attention that would come from telling people about these things. I worried that people get too involved. I didn't want that, so I just didn't really tell people about my fears and stuff like that. So my parents, obviously, yes, you can only hide so much. My parents knew I had all these issues because you can only hide so much, but I don't think they knew the full extent of it. Yeah, so, however, despite this anxiety, I was not at all depressed because, as I said, because my intense interest meant that my life was very meaningful. And that's a great thing about interest. It did bring me meaning, this extreme obsession with the actress Kate Winslet. So, yeah, so I'm now going to move on to video number 2 to carry on the social timeline. So, moving on to video number 2 now.